All right, in this video, we are going to talk about various exit strategies when it comes to acquiring off-market deals. If you don't know who I am, I'm Jeremy Beland. I am an expert at acquiring off-market deals. I have been successfully doing it since 2017. And since 2017, I have, with my companies, acquired well over 400 deals off-market and have grown multiple seven-figure markets in the process and have done close to 8 figures in gross profits since I started in 2017, which started with one $5,000 deal. That's amazing what this business can do. Well, today we are going to talk about different exit strategies. I'm going to explain what they are, because if you're doing off-market acquisitions, you don't need to just wholesale everything. That's how we got started in this business. God knows that's how I got started in this business. I love wholesaling. I still do it today. But if you're only wholesaling, you're freaking leaving too much money on the table, dude. If you're an expert acquiring off-market deals like I am, and you're just wholesaling it away, well, you're giving away too much money because you work really hard at getting really good at acquiring off-market deals. And then that is an expertise. That is a trade. That is a valuable commodity that you should be rewarded for. You're the one spending all the time and effort getting really damn good at that. So you should make as much money as you can. Now, wholesaling is an easy way to make money. It's quick, right? But it's not the only way. So let's talk about some of the other exit strategies today. Some of them you may not know. Some of them you do. And you need to start using all of them. All of them if you really want to make big money in this business, right? Don't let limited mindset hold you back. Don't let money hold you back. Don't let anything. You can borrow other people's money in this industry. You can do bigger deals. You can do massive deals. You can do all of these deals, right? You have the capabilities because you're already doing the hardest part. And that's locking up deals as low as possible off market. That is something that many people can't do, but you can do. And when you get an expert like me at doing this at a very high level, then you learn the other exit strategies so you can start making more money per deal. Stop giving them away for $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. Start thinking 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand. 100 grand. We just did a deal last month. It was $100,000. How cool is that, right? $100,000 off one deal. They're there all the time because we do many of these throughout the year, and you can too. All right. Sorry, I get excited. I hate people limiting themselves to just one exit strategy of just wholesaling. In the beginning, I get it. But once you start consistently doing deals every single month, meaning you're acquiring 1 to 2 deals a month as a wholesaler, you need to start thinking bigger picture. And that's making more money, bro, or miss. You need to start making more money. And let's talk about the ways you can do that. All right, so we know what wholesaling is, right? Wholesaling is when you have a purchase and sales agreement, assigning those rights via an assignment contract to another buyer for an assignment fee. So you have a contract at 123 Main Street. You assign that assignable contract to an end buyer via assignment contract for a fee. An assignment fee could be $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, hopefully $100,000. But you have no skin in the game. You just go out and get the deal. You lock it up. You sell that contract to somebody else. That cash buyer typically closes on that deal, on that contract, and just pays you whatever fee you guys have arranged. Wholesaling, easy peasy. As Tom Kroll would say, lemon squeezy. It's an easy way to make money, guys. And you can do it with having little to no money in this business, which makes it great. But there's other ways to make money. One of my favorite ways is called wholetailing. Not wholesaling, but wholetailing. So what is wholetailing? Well, that's when you take wholesaling, or the art of acquiring off-market deals, and the power of the MLS, the retail market, combining them to wholetail. Goofy word, but it's awesome. So what does a wholetail look like? Well, a wholetail is you get an off-market property under contract at a great price, and then you physically close on the property. You buy it, you close it, it's in your name. Jeremy, the home buyer, owns this property. I didn't sell it to anybody yet. I bought it. Now, what am I going to do to it? Well, I'm going to clean it. I'm going to clean it out. I'm going to get rid of all the junk, get it professionally cleaned. Maybe I'm just going to do some light painting or replace a couple pieces of carpet or fix a bathroom or just change out some flooring or pressure wash the house, right? Anything that you can do in 1 to 2 weeks and really for like $5, $10, $15,000 in costs or sometimes less. So we just closed on a property up here in New Hampshire. We do this all the time. We got it way below market value. We closed on it on a Tuesday. We, on Wednesday, went in and removed the rest of the furniture, had it pressure washed and cleaned. I probably spent $1,000 in fees of having professional pictures, professionally cleaned, pressure washed, and having the furniture removed. So, closed on it on a Tuesday, spent $1,000 on cleaning and pictures on Wednesday, had it on the market on Friday. Closed on a Tuesday. 3 days later, it's on the market. 2 days after that, I'm in escrow for over asking. This is going to probably be a $50,000 to $55,000 deal, depending on concessions. $50,000 to $55,000, like that. And it's great because guess what? It was not a house that a flipper or an investor would buy because there's not enough meat on the bone. But for a retail buyer, it's freaking awesome. It's below market value. It's a nice place. It's a nice town. I make freaking bank on these houses all the time. And you know what the best part is? I ain't using any of my own money. I'm not using anything. I borrow the money from private investors, private money lenders. They let me borrow their money. I close on the deal. I give them their money back at closing with a very, very friendly investor or interest rate, right? Interest payment. They say, hey, I can't make this kind of money on my own. So please use my money, pay me my money back, pay me that interest because this money is making me bank. So my private lender is making bank. I'm making bank. And a retail buyer is buying this house below market value. So they're happy because we have a housing crisis in this country. So wholesaling, I love them. I do a ton of them. They're probably our biggest marketing or exit strategy in my companies, and they make us a ton of money. I could not wholesale this deal for nothing because there was enough meat on the bone. But even if I could, what, 5,000, 10,000? Or I could close on it using other people's money. And even after paying closing costs, real estate commissions, and paying my investors back, I'm still looking at making $50,000 to $55,000. That's what's so cool about wholesaling. Big money to be made in wholesaling. That's why you can't just limit yourself to wholesaling. All right, novations. Very popular and trendy word. We used to call them seller proceeds back in the day. But all novation is basically, technically the definition is like, replacing one contract with another. So let me explain how this works. So you have a wholesale, as a wholesaler, you get a property under contract at 123 Main Street for $100,000. Now, maybe this is a deal that is not enough meat on the bone for a cash buyer, right? So you can't sell this to a cash buyer because maybe the house is only worth $150,000, $170,000, right? But it's in good shape, but needs a little bit of work, right? So it kind of falls into the wholesale category, but maybe you don't have any private lending yet. Shame on you. You need to work on that. You don't have any private lending on that, but you have the ability to market this property on the MLS or through your cash buyers list or Facebook or Craigslist, right? Any way to market this property to find a retail buyer. Now, a retail buyer says, hey, I don't need to buy this house for a flip, but I'm interested in buying this house. It's move-in ready. It'll qualify for conventional financing. I can get a traditional home loan to buy this house at $150,000. You have it under contract for $100,000. How do we make this work? Well, as an assignable contract, I can't assign it to you because your lender, your bank, won't recognize an assignment contract. Now, some local banks do, but they're few and far between. Almost all of them won't recognize an assignment contract. So, you can't assign your contract to somebody who's buying it with a traditional home loan. So, if you can't close on it or double close, which we're going to talk about the next one, a novation is great. A novation, what that does is now you go back to the seller and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, good news is we're getting this deal done. We're going to close on the $100,000 that I promised you. I'm still going to do all the work and everything you needed to do. But in order to get this deal done at this number that I want to provide for you, it's not going to work for a cash buyer investor. It's only going to work for a traditional homeowner. Now, I know there's a lot of stuff that we need to do and I need to provide you value. I'm still going to do that. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a novation. And what that means is you're going to sign another contract with me that is going to put you in contract with the end buyer. So now my contract with you, the purchase sales agreement, we're going to eliminate that contract and replace it with a contract between you and the buyer. But in that contract, it says that you're still going to pay me the $50,000, right? So I got a buyer for $150,000. I'm still promising you $100,000. That buyer is going to close on everything that I promised you is still going to come to fruition, but I'm going to get paid the $50,000. But out of that $50,000, I am going to pay real estate commissions and I'm going to pay closing costs on your side. So everything that I promised to you is still the same. I'm going to make probably $20,000, $30,000, maybe more, but that's how it works, right? So that is a novation. A novation replaces one contract with another, basically puts the seller and buyer together in a contract and takes you out of that contract, but you now have a contract between you and the seller saying you get to keep the proceeds on that first contract with the seller and the buyer for anything additional over what you agreed on. So the $100,000, anything on top of that $100,000, you're responsible for or receiving. But also means if there's any concessions or any work that needs to get done to make sure that after the inspection, the homeowner can buy this house, right? And they say, well, we need these repairs done, or we want $5,000 at closing because we know the roof needs to get done. You have to pay for that, not your seller. You do, right? Any commissions to the real estate agent, you have to pay. The seller side of the closing costs, you have to pay. But you don't have to bring any money to the table. So novations work. We do them. I know some people, that's how they make their money around as like the primary exit strategy. I personally don't like it as a primary exit strategy, but it is a great exit strategy. And if you know what you're doing, you can make a lot of good money with it. Novations. And then there's just double close, right? So same scenario, but rather than doing a novation, right, you have a seller that has a property for $100,000 that you agreed on. You found a retail buyer for $150,000, or maybe a cash buyer at $175,000, whatever the number is. You don't want the seller to see how much money you're making. You don't want the buyer to see how much money you're making. Or outside of that, maybe it's a retail buyer where, again, you can't assign your contract, but it's a really good deal at $150,000. Well, again, you can double close this for both of those reasons. And depending on where you are, the state and the rules, a lot of times, depending on the buyer, right, you can use the buyer's funds to actually close on transaction A. So they're back to back. So the funds come in to, and that closes transaction A to B, which is between you and the seller. And then also B to C. And the difference between the two deals, you get to keep. So that's a double close. Double close will... you close contract, between contract A, contract B, or seller A, buyer B, and then buyer B now becomes seller B to buyer C, right? And you can use a double close to close those two things. Now, if for some reason you're in a state or in a situation where you can't use the buyer's funds to fund both deals, and that sometimes happens, again, if you use private lending or know people, they'll allow you to use their money for a day for a fee. $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Hey, you wire your money in. We're going to do a back-to-back close. You're going to get your money wired back the same way. You make $2,000. Thank you for allowing me to use your money, right? Who wouldn't want to just wire money to the bank or to a closing company for one day and make $2,000? I know I would, right? And you do that, you're still protected. There's still, protection for the lender for the mortgages in case the deal falls through at the last minute. But if you have a great reputation and you built, a good relationship with your lender, no problem. Double close. And then again, you out of your end, you may have to pay some real estate commissions, some closing costs, maybe extra closing costs. But you've turned a deal that maybe you make nothing in, right, with a retail buyer, or if it was enough meat on the bone with a cash buyer investor, to a retail buyer, now you made $50,000. You may only net 30, but 30,000 is a lot better than zero, right? Right. So your cost of 20,000, but you netted 30. Or in a situation where you have a cash buyer and you're worried that the seller is going to see how big the spread is, or you're worried that the buyer may back out for how much they see. Now, this doesn't happen often, but it does. Whatever, if you're scared of that situation, you could double close it. It's better to make sure you get a guaranteed 30,000 rather than hoping that everything goes through for the 50,000, right? So that's double close. Flipping. Listen, we watch the shows, right? Are you flipping houses? Well, once you get really good at acquiring off-market deals, you can cherry pick that pipeline. You can flip the deals that you want. Flip the easy ones. Sell all the freaking hard ones. Who wants to do a hard flip anyway? They spend too much time, too much headaches, take too long. Sell them to other investors. Make your money that way. But you're going to get some deals sometimes that even if you don't know what you're doing, like me, I don't know much about construction. I honestly don't. But you can find somebody who does, right? So don't let this be a limited mindset either. You can find the money from a private lender to do the deal. You don't have to use your own money. You can definitely use hard money, right? You can find somebody who has construction experience to give them a piece of the pie to help run the project for you. Or you just figure it out like me and my wife did in the early years, where we called Empire Today to do our floors on our first flip because we didn't know any different. We paid twice as much for floors, but we still made $40,000 on a flip, probably spending twice as much as we needed to on a budget. But, you know, that's how you learn, right? So it's okay to take massive imperfect action. If you get the house at 50, 60 cents on the dollar and it's not a complete gut job and it doesn't need much, right? Then just, you know, buy the house. You know, get 3 quotes of what the roof's going to be, to replace the kitchen, to replace the flooring, to do some painting, right? If it doesn't need a lot of work and you feel like you can manage this along with continuing your pipeline of off-market sales calls and leads and everything that you got going on, then hey, you know, if you can feel like you can get this house flipped in 30, 60 days and have a plumber come in and do this, an electrician come and do this, change out some lights, change out some doors, pressure wash the house, change out some windows, maybe change some flooring, right? Nothing massive, and you can have the house back on. Well, if that means that you can turn an assignment deal to a cash buyer for $10,000 into a situation where you can now put $30,000, $40,000 of somebody else's money into it, and then take that house, and instead of making $10,000, $20,000 on assignment fee, you can start maybe looking at $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 net. Then you freaking flip that house and figure it out. You don't have to flip a ton. You can if you want to, if you love it. That's what you need to do. It's great. But you can flip a handful of houses on top of your wholesaling business and make bank. You can flip 1 or 2 houses as a solopreneur wholesaler every quarter and make an extra $50,000 to $100,000 per quarter net by flipping a few houses a year and not spending a lot of time doing it. So if you're making $100,000, $200,000 a year as a wholesaler take home, would you like to double that by flipping a handful of houses a year by using somebody else's money? Love it. All right, another exit strategy, rentals and BRRRRs, right? So now you're going to buy the house again, and you are going to keep it as a rental. Whether you're going to just buy it with cash that you've earned from wholesaling, just buy a house cash, keep it as a cash flow and rental property, or you're going to buy it with cash using somebody else's money, fix it up and BRRRR out of it, right? Buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. See, I'm not even that great with the acronym, even though I do a bunch of these. You can BRRRR out of it. You can buy it as a rental, or maybe you buy it, you know, use conventional financing to do it. Whatever the case is, you have that ability. That's another great exit strategy for your long-term wealth. Is it going to make you a ton of money now? Probably not. Sometimes when you BRRRR out of these properties, you know, you have so much equity in them that you can actually get paid money, and, you know, you acquire a rental and get paid like $10,000, $20,000 from the mortgage company when you go to refinance to buy this property, right? You actually made money buying a rental property. That happens when you get really good. But even if you spend $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 your own money, or $50,000 or $100,000 your own money, right? You could build long-term wealth, because equity is a great gameplay in this industry, right? Properties that we own, typically, historically, nationally, do 7 to 8% appreciation year after year after year. So if you hold on to a property for 10 years, you're going to get a ton of appreciation on that money. And then you get some cash flow and pay down the equity of the property in the process. So it could be a great win, especially for capital gains. If you're doing flips, wholesales, and wholesaling, this will help your tax advantages as well. So a lot of great gains there. Again, not short-term wealth, but long-term wealth. What I recommend is do a little bit of everything, right? Buy some rentals for some long-term wealth and long-term equity gain. Wholesaling is your cash now, right? Pays the bills, pays the market, brings cash in. Wholesaling, novations, double close, flipping, those can bring large sums of checks off of deals that you typically would never be able to wholesale. So rather than leaving a bunch of nice houses on the table, you can make money with those. Supplemented all of these, and that's how you build a 7-figure off-market acquisition business without doing a ton of deals, because you have all these multiple exit strategies. And when you get really good at acquiring off-market deals, right, you keep all the deals you want. These are the ones I'm going to wholesale. These are the ones I'm going to flip. These are all the rentals. All the shit I don't want, I'm selling to other investors. And I'm just going to use those as wholesale money to pay the bills and keep the machine fed, right? So all the deals keep coming. So you don't have to be a wholesaler. You want to be an expert at acquiring off-market deals and then master the exit strategies, and that's how you can get super rich in this business. I hope you found this valuable, guys. That was a lot of great info and teaching you what it takes to make a lot of money in this business. It was a great video. If you found this video informative, I ask you, please like it and subscribe to this channel. It's going to help the algorithm so this video can bring value not only to you, but to a lot of other people. And if you want to get really good at acquiring off-market deals like me, be an expert, well, then I suggest you click on the link below. It's meant to sell you something. My coaching business. If you don't want to be coaching my coaching business, totally cool. If you want to click on the link and learn more, fine. It's no obligation. You just get to learn a little bit about it, see if it's right for you. If it's not, totally okay. But if you are not interested in my coaching, but you found this valuable, again, like, subscribe. It really helps me out. I want to help other people. Other great videos coming. Stay tuned. Appreciate you watching. I hope you go out and make a ton of money today. See ya.